So overall, you know, if you watch this to kind of find out more about is PASIC worth it, I would say... Hello everybody, what is up? My name is Rosie Sircone, and this is my first vlog I've ever done on this channel, and it's about going to PASIC. For those of you that don't know what PASIC, it's the Percussive Arts Society International Convention. It happens in Indianapolis every year. My first time going was last year. I actually got to perform at it, and this year I went because there was a lot of people performing or that I knew were attending that I really wanted to connect with as somebody who is creating their creative career and trying to figure out how to be self-employed and an artist and all of these things. I've been feeling kind of lost for these past few months, figuring out the balance of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And all of a sudden I just kind of had this gut reaction a few weeks ago when I saw all the people that were going to PASIC, that I just really needed to be there and be there in person and connect with people. And so I followed through on that. And I decided to vlog my trip and talk about some of the things that came up for me along with that. So present editing Rosie will be cutting in and out a little bit to add some more context as I process some things from my PASIC trip. But hopefully this also gives you a good idea of what going to PASIC is like or can be like. I know as somebody who grew up in Montana, it's not easy to get to Indianapolis in the middle of November, especially when you're in school. So I didn't experience going to PASIC until after I graduated. It's a big investment that you can't always make, right? Going on a big trip. So hopefully this will give some insight into what PASIC is like, if it's worth it for you, if you are in the percussion and drum industry. So without further ado, let's get me, Rosie Sircone, to Indianapolis. Hello, I am getting packed for PASIC right now. I'm gonna try to vlog it. I try to vlog things and it doesn't always happen, so we'll see how it goes. Hayden is taking me to the airport in about 50 minutes, and then I'll be on my way to Indianapolis. I have a nice afternoon flight, not a super early morning flight, which is awesome. Come here. Oh, so much talking. Yeah, you got more important things to do, like stare out the window. That's fine. I'll keep packing. Make a wish. Oh yeah, I'm vlogging. You taking me to the airport? Woo! Woo! That's a really good shot of you. That's better. Chex Mix and Coca-Cola. My airport staples. Arrived 2 hours early. Better to be early than late. So I decided to journal for a bit since I had so much time before the plane started boarding. And I was journaling about what I wanted from my PASIC trip, because I was taking time out of my schedule, my finances, all these things to go on this trip, and I wanted to make sure it was worth it. I've never really done this before I went on a trip or work trip or vacation, and I think this is something I want to start incorporating anytime I travel, because especially at a thing like PASIC, there are things to do all the time. There are so many choices. And because I had this clarity and intention of what I wanted for myself, it made it so much easier to decide, and I feel like I had so many more magical experiences and tiny little moments just because of taking this time to sit down and think about it. First leg of the trip is to Minneapolis, so about a 3-hour flight.
Shouldn't I already know? I look at the sun like they tell you to. I guess it's better than going back to bed alone.
Good morning. It is 7:10. this work trip of mine is I wanted to make sure that I was still doing all of the healthy things for myself. So I am here on the hotel treadmill doing the thing, get my body moving. So feeling good. I'm super excited for first day of PASIC. I slept pretty good considering I'm sharing a very small room with 2 other people. And I think it's going to be an awesome day. In full transparency, this was the only day I worked out, but it was my intention to just do whatever felt best for my body. The first day it was working out, the other days it was sleeping. So proud of myself for incorporating it. Okay. Oh, this is the wrong bag. And then put my other bag. I just grabbed all of them. All right, I've had some breakfast. It was pretty good. And now I'm just getting ready for the day. Grab an Uber to the convention center. I am staying with 2 other people, but they have already headed out for the morning. I'm still on Pacific time, so technically it's like 5 in the morning right now. So moving a little slower. Put together some cute outfits, I think, for PASIC. Not that that's like a thing that people do, but I like cute outfits, so I'm not gonna let the fact that other people don't really care about making cute outfits for PASIC deter me from putting on a cute outfit. Excited to see a lot of people that I probably haven't seen since last year. I'm also excited because like last year I was performing and it was just 1 song in 1 concert, so it wasn't anything crazy. But even though that was on the first day, it felt like it kind of dictated how the rest of my time went, as far as just like not feeling like all in on going to all the different educational opportunities. So this year I think will be like a lot busier, but also a lot more relaxed, if that makes sense. Okay, all of my favorite YouTubers do their outfits of the days, and since I'm a YouTuber now, I wanted to do one. So I promise this is the only one of the video, but I also don't feel bad. All right, I know this lighting kind of sucks, but here's my outfit. This is a little t-shirt, thrifted, a skirt, thrifted, these tights from H&M forever ago, Blundstone boots. This was from some store in Missoula when I lived there. And yeah, we're ready to go. My Uber's about to pick me up, and then first day of PASIC. What a beautiful day to go sit inside for hours and hours. Got the badge. All right, first thing I did is I went to the expo hall, which is basically where all of the gear and like manufacturers are and selling stuff to you. So there's this quiet side, which I started out on. And then there is the drum side, which sounds like... Yeah, so the expo hall is literally insane. I didn't spend much time there except to visit some of my favorite people and favorite booths, but it's crazy.
If I dream in a piece and in the middle of the night...
Let's see if we can get this slightly better. Oh, that's not good. There we go. I am vlogging in public. Here we go. I'm taking a break. It's like the middle of day 1. It's been a really good day so far. I have a lot of thoughts about the idea of playing music and whether you're doing it to tell a story or whether you're doing it to show an experiment. I feel like a lot of what I've seen today has fallen into the experiment category, and this is something I'll talk about more. Maybe I'll cut in later and when I've thought about it more and processed it more. What an excellent idea, because I don't feel like what I go on to say really explains what I was thinking, so I'm gonna cut in right here. For a little context of what I was watching that day to make me have this thought is at PASIC, the first day, the Thursday of PASIC, they always have a series of, I think, 5 concerts that is the new research, new music portion of PASIC, and they focus on a specific topic or area of study that they want to present a bunch of different pieces from. So for instance, I actually performed in one of these concerts last year, which was my first PASIC, and the focus that year was percussion and voice. This year, the focus was basically percussion of the future, like where people see the field going. It's kind of a broad topic, but understandably, a lot of the pieces ended up including electronics or some kind of looping, things of that nature. I did see a few pieces that I thought were really, really cool, but like I said in my initial reaction to them, I was really struck by this idea of whether you are creating music to tell a story or to present an experiment. And a lot of this came off as very, very experimental, meaning that you were kind of just supposed to sit there and listen to the sounds that people had come up with given a certain set of constraints. And while that is interesting, I just relate so much more to storytelling and having a clearer narrative. Sometimes it can be very meditative types of music, and so I understand when it is experimental and it kind of just gets you into a zone. But other times the experimental music is incredibly jarring, but the narrative is so buried under the experiment part of it that I don't know what's happening. I feel like one thing it did for me is it just clarified how important it is to me to connect and give the audience something to grab onto before anything else. I don't think that's the right or wrong way to do it. That's just important to me. It makes me feel like I've done my job better. So overall, it gave me a lot to reflect on. I'd love to hear your thoughts about storytelling music versus experimental music. Obviously they cross over, that it's not that black and white. But yeah, so that's a really big benefit of PASIC, is that even though a lot of the music I'm talking about I really didn't love, it was not my favorite, it did make me think, and it is good to be presented with things that make you think and question and wonder. All right, back into PASIC. That was all the stuff I had for day one, so here's some clips from day two. And because I'm a really awesome vlogger, those are all the clips I got from day two. But day two, I went to less things. I did see Eastman, which you just saw in that last clip, which, coming from Montana, place where you can't go see giant college percussion ensembles that are absolutely amazing. That was really fun. That was a super big treat. But I do give you a little bit of an update on that day in the next day of my vlog. So let's just jump right in there. Just gotta get this on the eyelashes. Hello! Last day of PASIC. I don't think I did an update yesterday. Yesterday I went to less clinics and master classes and just did more like catching up with people or meeting people, and it was really awesome. You know, I've met some of the people that I like specifically wanted to meet coming to PASIC, but then I've also just formed friendships with people I didn't expect or didn't even know existed, and that's been really, really cool. Yeah, it's just felt nice, like, to just make more friends and not have any kind of, you know, outside networking motive out of that. Just like, I've just met really cool people. So today I'm going to Matt Lau's clinic on yoga and playing music, which should be great. And then the big one for me today is I'm seeing Mike Johnston. I have been listening to his podcast so much over the past 6 months. Hope I get to meet him, but if not, it will just be cool to see him in person, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then flying out early tomorrow morning. So it really is almost over, but it feels like the perfect amount of time. I am excited to go home, see Hayden, see my cat, get back to normal life. Let's go ahead and get to the convention center. It's also snowing today, which I hate, but what can you do? So that's pretty much the last clip I have from PASIC. I did some other things that night. But there is a big story revolving around meeting Mike Johnston that I need to tell because it's cool and funny. So Mike, his clinic was great. He was gracious enough to say to everybody right at the end of his clinic, like, I'm gonna be out in the hallway if you want to come talk and come say hi. And so of course I go to say hi. And then another piece of information is that Mike and I actually kind of know each other because, and so he instantly recognized me, which was really, really cool. And then at one point he said something super nice about really enjoying and getting value out of what I post and what I do. And of course this was my in to like tell him how much his podcast means to me. And I did tell that, but I started crying like instantly, which of course I like did not want to cry while I was meeting one of my percussion and drum like role models. But I did, because I'm a crier. I'm a very emotional person. He was super kind. He gave me a hug. Didn't seem weirded out by it at all, but I just thought that was a funny story. So with a good bout of crying and a nice dinner, that kind of summed up my PASIC experience. I had some delays getting home, but I eventually got here, and here I am now. So overall, you know, if you watch this to kind of find out more about is PASIC worth it, I would say it really depends on what you put into it. Because I have like a little bit of a social media following within the drum and percussion community, that definitely opened some doors to me. My sponsors, which are Marimba One and Blue House, also opened some doors for me because I got to speak with other Marimba One artists and with my artist reps from both those companies, and so those allowed for some really great conversations. But I don't think you need the social media doors or the sponsorship doors to have a really amazing time at PASIC. It's a little overwhelming, and I'm still trying to find my place within the educational percussion world, because sometimes I have some problems with how it's just a system that feeds itself. But there's, from evidence from my conversations, there's places to do other things other than that, even though that's just what's presented to us a lot as percussionists that go to college. So yeah, I am really grateful that I took the chance and used my resources and just figured out how to get to PASIC on kind of short notice. It was really worth it for me. So you kind of just have to gauge for yourself if it's worth it. I will say that I used to feel like I was really, really missing out in college when I couldn't go to PASIC, but I don't think I was. Now that I've gone later, I don't think it would have been super useful to me because I wouldn't have been in the headspace of like making friends and making connections. I would have been going for just the content alone. And maybe if that's what you want, that's great. But for me, it's so much more about all sorts of people and all sorts of percussionists and musicians being in one place. So if you enjoyed this kind of vlog, video, whatever it was, please let me know. Like it, subscribe, do all those things, comment, tell me what else you would like to see. This was actually really, really fun to make, and I see myself making more of them, which is exciting because it means I'm figuring out things I like to do instead of just things I don't like to do, which is also really helpful. I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful week. I will see you in the next video.